Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, May 26th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now, before I get into the news of the week, I want to provide a quick update for those of you who are enrolled in one of the Harvard Pilgrim healthcare plans. As I think you've heard by now, several weeks ago, it was discovered that Harvard Pilgrim has been the victim of a cybersecurity attack, a so-called ransomware attack, by some criminal organization, most likely overseas in Russia or a country like that, that have hacked into their systems. And it was announced just earlier this week that it has been discovered that at least some personal information from enrollees have been compromised. Harvard Pilgrim is in the process of contacting those individuals. Now, I should point out that my family, our records at one point in time, we were enrollees of Harvard Pilgrim ourselves. So my wife and daughter and I, our information apparently has been compromised along with everyone else who has been an enrollee of Harvard Pilgrim. We have contained within this week's message, the email message that went out, as well as on the Mass Retirees Facebook page, a link to the Harvard Pilgrim website. I will advise those of you who are enrolled through Harvard Pilgrim or who have had Harvard Pilgrim health insurance over the past decade or so to go to the website, read the information that's online. If you have any questions, contact Harvard Pilgrim directly. We do not know any more than what has been publicly reported. The same with the Group Insurance Commission, which I should point out has gone above and beyond in terms of keeping our association in the loop and doing the best they can to notify their enrollees as to how this may or may not affect them. Now, to the best of our knowledge, this attack in no way has compromised the GIC or any of the other health plans, including Tufts Health Plan, which of course is owned by the same .32 parent company as Harvard Pilgrim. This attack appears to be strictly focused on Harvard Pilgrim. But again, if you have questions or concerns, I advise that you directly go to Harvard Pilgrim for that information. Now, Harvard Pilgrim is offering through their website 2 years of free credit monitoring for those enrollees who have been impacted. It's just an added security feature, just so you can keep an eye on your own personal information. This is a terrible situation, but again, there's only so much that can be done with these overseas organizations who are just constantly trying to find ways to commit fraud and steal this information. Which leads me to my next point. This goes without saying, but it has to be repeated. We urge all of you to be extremely careful when you're either online or over the telephone or anything you may receive in the mail. If something seems too good to be true, or if red flags go up, or if people are asking you for your personal information, like your social security number, or pressuring you to take some kind of an action on something, pause, don't act, reach out to our association. If it's something related to your pension or your health insurance, call the retirement board, call the GIC, call Blue Cross, whomever you are insured through, reach out to that organization directly for accurate information. Now, I think most people understand this, but all it takes is just one mistake in someone's financial security is being jeopardized. So with that, let me move on to other news of the week. Now, of course, we're going into Memorial Day weekend, which is the time for us to honor and reflect on the service and the sacrifices that have been made by the men and women who bravely serve in our armed forces and whom have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I would also take it one step further to remember and appreciate the sacrifices made by the families of service members. It is a terrible situation to lose anyone's loved one, particularly under those circumstances. And to paraphrase President John F. Kennedy, it is not enough just to remember those who served with our words, but we also have to conduct ourselves appropriately and remember their service through our actions. Which leads me to my next point. This is a great opportunity for us to remind public policy makers, legislators, also our members, of the various bills that we have filed on behalf of our members who are veterans and on behalf of the active public employees who are veterans. Now, it's no surprise that a great number of public employees, public servants, are also veterans. This commitment to public service and to serve runs deep with many people. Our association is full of veterans who served our nation in the military and came home and served, either their local government or their state government or the federal government in various capacities. And we're very proud of your service. We're very proud to have you as members, and we take serving you very seriously. Now, going all the way back to 1968 and the founding of Mass Retirees, we have been heavily focused on veterans issues. As a matter of fact, our founding fathers, as it will, were World War II and Korean War veterans. So veterans issues run in our DNA here at Mass Retirees. We have always made it a point to take care of those who have served us. And one way of doing that is through the various veterans bills that we have filed. For this session, we have filed 2 different veterans proposals. One would increase the veterans bonus from the maximum $300 benefit that is paid right now up to a new maximum benefit of $1,000. Now, this benefit dates all the way back to 1957. It was created in the immediate aftermath of the Korean War. It has always been an automatic part of a superannuation retiree's base pension. It does not show up on your statement or your 1099 as a separate item. So many veterans do not even realize that they're receiving this. And I'm sure I will get some phone calls from some of you who are watching this video right now wondering if you are receiving this benefit. And the short answer is yes. If you are a veteran under the state retirement law, this benefit was automatically included in your basic pension when you retired. Again, it was created back in 1957. This is not a new benefit. What we are trying to do now is increase the benefit and improve upon the benefit. But you are already receiving the basic amount that was created back in 1957, which is a maximum benefit of $300. The way it works is that veterans receive an extra $15 for every year of credible service that you have achieved, up to a maximum of $300 at 20 years of service. So we're trying to increase that benefit. At the same time, we are also working to change the definition of veteran, or update the definition of veteran, to apply to those veterans who retired prior to August of 2004. Back in 2004, the definition of veteran for retirement purposes here in Massachusetts was changed. It was modernized to include veterans who had non-wartime service, as well as veterans of the National Guard. However, the change in the definition was not applied retroactively. It was only prospective for people who were retiring from that point forward, which is pretty standard with any changes to the retirement law. Whether they're good changes or bad changes, they're almost always prospective. However, we deeply believe that all veterans should be treated the same. It shouldn't matter when you served or where you served. If you're a veteran, you deserve to get the same benefits as everybody else. And that's what our legislation aims to do, is to take that new definition of veteran that was created back in 2004 and apply it to people who are retired already going forward. Now, unfortunately, there will be no retroactive benefits applied if we're successful in getting this done. However, what would happen for those of you who this new definition would apply to is from that point forward, you would begin to receive, for instance, the veterans bonus. So that's where this is important going forward. And again, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to look back over all the years you've been out and apply this retroactively. That's just not going to happen. But going forward, we want everyone to be treated the same. So the good news here is that we have 2 fantastic sponsors of these different bills. They are State Senator John Velas from Westfield and State Representative Jerry Paracella from Beverly. Both are highly respected members of the legislature. Both are members of their respective Senate and House leadership teams. And importantly, both Senator Velas as well as Representative Paracella are veterans themselves. These bills are personally important to them. They believe in the cause, And it is our hope that this year we're going to be successful in getting both of these bills passed. We are now working through our legislative team here at Mass Retirees with the hope of getting both of these proposals included in a potential larger veterans benefit legislation, or omnibus bill as it is referred to sometimes, that could be on the move for this coming fall. That still remains to be seen. There's a lot of work that has to be done between now and then, but we're very hopeful that we can finally get this accomplished. Now, in terms of the veterans bonus legislation, this is the third session that we have filed this proposal. So it's been pending now for the last 4 years. This is the 5th year the legislature's been working on this and looking at it. And it generally takes a little bit of time from when you first propose something to when the legislature has been educated on the issue and feels comfortable moving forward. So 4 or 5 or 6 year process, it may seem like a long time, but in terms of public policy and making laws and benefits, it's really not a very long period of time at all. In terms of the definition of veterans, we've been working on this a little bit longer. We had hoped back in 2004 to make this retroactive. It just wasn't possible at the time. But we have been working on this ever since. Quite a few years have gone by now, nearly 20 years. So we're hoping that this year, with the support of these two fantastic co-sponsors, that we're finally able to get something done. Now, the last piece of veterans legislation I want to mention is a bill filed by the Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission, known as PERAC, that would make an amendment to the veterans buyback law that was passed also 25 years ago, give or take, that allows veterans to buy back up to 4 years of your military service. So you have to pay for the time, but you can buy back the time if you served in the military. Well, the process of buying back that time is a little bit confusing, it's a little bit convoluted, and is really in need of being reformed. So we are very thankful that PERAC has realized this. They have stepped up. They get very close to passing this legislation last year before the session ended. Unfortunately, time ran out before they were able to do so, so the legislation has been refiled, and we're pretty optimistic that this legislation most likely will be passed into law this year. In addition to Mass Retirees supporting this initiative, it is also being supported by various public employee unions. The state police, the various police unions, the firefighters are some groups that immediately come to mind. But it has virtually universal support amongst all the retiree and public employee unions, and we're hopeful that together, along with the support of PERAC and their expertise, that we're able to get this across the finish line this year. It's just a good bill. And finally, I want to say thank you to those of you who have taken the time in recent months to come out and attend and support our association at our now ongoing area meetings. As you know, we kicked off a full schedule of area meetings earlier this year. We had our most recent meeting a week ago today in Peabody. We had a great crowd. We have seen attendance at our meetings slowly sort of ramp back up, and we're getting closer, not quite, but closer to where we were pre-pandemic. So it is great to see people in person again. It's great to be able to have conversations with you and answer your questions and meet some of you in person that I've only had the opportunity to speak with on the phone or maybe exchange an email, or have had you attend one of our teletown hall events. So take a look at our newsletter. On page 3 of every newsletter is the list of upcoming events. We also make notice of our upcoming events in every weekly message. It's on our website. And we also send out a meeting reminder letter to those of you who are living in the close proximity to where some of these meeting locations are going to be. So our next area meeting will take place on Cape Cod in Hyannis at the Resort and Conference Center of Hyannis. It's right across the street from the Cape Cod Melody tent. We will be there on Wednesday, June 7th. At 11 a.m. the meeting begins, and then on Friday, June 9th, we will be hosting our next Teletown Hall event, which of course is open to every member. And we're going to continue to hold both our area meetings as well as our Teletown Hall meetings going forward. It's important that we communicate with you every way we can, that we find ways to engage with you. So those are our 2 upcoming meetings, and then we will be announcing our annual meeting and into the fall meetings in upcoming editions of The Voice. But with that, I'm going to sign off for this week. I hope all of you have an enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. Make sure to take a moment to reflect and remember those who have served and paid the ultimate sacrifice, and spend time with your friends and family. And we will be talking to you again real soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.